So I think I had just like one dream, but it was like a long dream with it was like a bunch of mini dreams in the same storyline or something like that. It was basically all the same dream broken up to different parts or something like that. But I think so my cousin is getting married and like all the family members are invited. It's like there's a lot of us going. And so I think it's the the wedding is it's a destination wedding taking place in Sweden. I think it was in Sweden. And but it makes no sense because like when we get there it looks very tropical. It's very like warm and tropical, like a Caribbean type location. But I remember for sure it was Sweden. Like I we're in Sweden. And so I'm there with my family and it's like all these different sections of the dream. So one part I remember I'm with one of my cousins who's also invited. One of my cousins that I grew up with, and he me and him are just kind of like talking and doing some sightseeing at one point. I think we're walking along like a scenic route of some place. I don't even remember where it was. It was just it was like a nice area with a bunch of scenery and nature stuff and monuments at one point as well. And I think we're just like spending the day together. And so we're kind of talking and catching up, and I'm taking pictures like with each other of like different places, different monuments. We're doing a lot of walking. Like we're just walking around and we haven't seen each other in a while. So like, yeah, we're just catching up. And at one point, I think we take a boat. Or it's almost like a boat or a ferry from like one place to another. And occasionally, I think we even run into other people we know. Or like at one point, it's like a small group of us or something. So that was like a small section of the dream. But again, it was like one long dream. Everything was connected. So I remember that part. And then I remember we were also staying, like when we get there, it's like a resort, but it's weird because it's like a it's like a hotel and a resort, but they're separated for some reason. It's like two different buildings. So you have like the main hotel that we're all staying inside of, but then like the resort section of it, it's like it's part of a resort, but the resort's further away. And there's like a beach there and like a big hall, I guess, like a big banquet hall and stuff. And you actually have to walk quite a bit to get there. And some people are taking, I think it's like a tram, I guess you would call it, like one of those like trains that are like designed like it's basically just goes there and back. And I think there's different options. Like you can basically like take a boat, you can take a car, whatever. But it was just very strange because it's like it's a nice big resort, but you have like a huge hotel. The hotel was massive too, so it's like a hotel, and then the rest of the resort is further away. Like very strange. But at one point, too, I remember we're inside I think we're in the hotel, and there's a big group. I remember being with my family at one point, and we're having like I guess it's like what do you call it? I think it's like a rehearsal dinner or something. It's like it's not the wedding, but it's like just it's weird because it was like a reception. It was almost like a wedding reception, but it was before the wedding itself. I guess it would have to be like a I don't know what it was, but it was basically like a big dinner or whatever. And I remember I'm running late too, and so I'm in the hotel. I think I'm getting ready. Yeah, I'm getting ready to go, and I think I have my brother is there, a couple aunts and uncles, and we're all just together, and we're going in groups. It's like there's different groups of us going there to the hall. Like we're all going to this big banquet hall. I guess yeah, it must have been yeah. I think it is a rehearsal dinner because I remember yeah we get there. Actually, at one point I think I'm lost too. I'm walking around the hotel and I'm trying to find my way, and and because it's in Sweden, there's a lot of people talking Swedish, and there's like some weird like it's like multiple floors, and I'm walking around. I'm trying to find my way to the banquet hall. I think that's what it was. And I see other random people. They're all dressed nice, and at one point, I'm like, I realize I don't have nice clothes with me too. I think so. Yeah, I I'm walking around this hotel, and there's people speaking Swedish. Some of them speak English. Like most of them do speak English, and they have like heavy accents. But I'm trying to get directions, and they're having trouble explaining it to me. I think, and at one point, I find some guy. He's like a younger, tall, black guy, and he's in Sweden. I think I find that surprising. I guess in the dream, I'm like, oh, he was black, but he speaks like fluent English and fluent Swedish, and something else about him though. Yeah, I think his English was perfect. Yeah, that's what surprised me was his English was fluent, and I was like, "Oh, you don't have a Swedish accent?" And he's like, "Yeah, I wasn't born here. I moved here, and I live in Sweden now." And I think I had like a small, short conversation with him. It was just like I was just fascinated by something. I can't remember something else though. I was fascinated about his story. He was telling me something about moving there or something, and then he basically guides me. He tells me how to get to this big banquet hall. And so I go finally, and by the time I get there, it's like actually a big group, and there's tons of people. There's maybe like it's so unrealistic because there's like maybe 50 of us or something. It's like a huge group of us that are walking into the banquet hall, and when we get there, like they open the door and like we kind of walk in, but they're also like announcing us one by one, almost like when a wedding party goes into the wedding the first time, like they introduce like the bridesmaids and the groomsmen and all that. But there's like a huge group of 50 of us, and like as the big doors open and we walk in, and I'm there, and then some announcer or something like a DJ or something is announcing all of us at the exact same time. It was very weird. But then what's even more strange is like when the when the doors open and we walk in, it kind of actually reminds me of like the Harry Potter. It reminds me of the Harry Potter movies where they have their dining hall, I guess, or their whatever you call it, cafeteria, not a cafeteria, their main like dining hall, where it's basically like long tables, and that's what it was. It was like these huge long tables, but there's so many of them. It's like maybe like 10 of them, and it looked massive. There's probably like hundreds of people there, so it doesn't make any sense at all. Like this wedding having that many people, but it was maybe like I don't know, maybe 8 rows of of tables, and they were long too. Like maybe I don't know, 50 to 100 people per side. And it was like 8 sides or whatever. I guess it'd be like 16 sides. But anyways, it was massive. And I walk in, and like from a distance, I'm like trying to scan to find the people I know, like finding relatives, and I'm pretty sure it was my cousin getting married. So I'm kind of looking for like my people or my group or whatever. And I spot them near the front, obviously, because they're like part of the main wedding group or my wedding party. So I make my way to them. I walk all the way up, and then I get to them, and I realize at this point that I think in the dream, I thought it was supposed to be more casual, and I'm dressed like in a pair of shorts and like a decent shirt, like a polo shirt or something, long sleeve, I think. But when I get there, like all the relatives are dressed very nice and fancy, and they're wearing suits and like nice dresses and gowns and stuff. And I get like instantly embarrassed, and I'm standing there, and I give my highs to them, like I do my hellos and all that, and then I think they're kind of annoyed, and then I think my aunt, who's my cousin's mother, she looks at me, she kind of like she gives me the she says hi to me, but like right away I can see in her face she's like quite annoyed, and she asks me if I have anything nicer to wear for the wedding itself. So I guess this must it wasn't even a reception. This I mean I don't know if it was I guess it was a rehearsal, but anyways, because she says something about do I have something nicer to wear for the actual wedding. And I'm like, no, I don't have anything. And she kind of rolls her eyes. She's really annoyed, and I'm like, I'm pissed off too. I'm like, okay, now I have to figure something out for the wedding, which I think was still a couple days away or something. And that whole dream sequence, I think we're eating a meal or something. But I just remember standing. Other people are sitting, and we're talking a little bit, and that's how that part of the dream ends, though. So that dream sequence ends, and then like fast forward, and then I remember I think I'm in a room somewhere with like relatives, and I think my sister in law is there. I think my brother, my sister, maybe a couple other people, and I remember I'm just having a conversation. I'm asking them if anybody can help me out. I'm like, are there any stores nearby where I think this is like the day after, so I'm asking like, there's got to be a store or something where I can go and get like a nice tuxedo or something. I'm gonna have to get a suit. I have to rent a suit, or somebody has to lend me. I think my sister in law says something about she has like a connection. She can get somebody to lend me a suit or something like that. And so I start like, I think I was asking around to like other people, like, what can I do? And then I get really pissed off at myself that I didn't bring a suit with me or like something really nice, like a fancy clothing or something. And then that was like a really short part of the dream that I remember. And then fast forward again. And then this part was weird because I don't know how, but I remember I end up meeting, see, I think it was the same. It was weird because it was like, it's the same dream, same whole thing. It's still Sweden, and I think we're there for like a whole week or maybe even longer. And so it's the same character. So earlier, I remember I had met that black guy, and I had asked him for the directions, all that, and I was surprised about his accent, all that. So now, fast forward, and it's not this. It's the same guy, but now it's like a different character, almost like it's the same person, but it's a female. It's like a female staff member who works at this resort or hotel, and she's like a little younger, like black. I don't know, maybe like in her 30s, I think. And she's like an attractive black lady, and we just kind of hit it off, and we're having a conversation or something like that. Next thing I know, though, I think like we're sitting down for a meal. I think it's almost like we're just kind of like getting to know each other, but it almost feels like a date. It feels like we're having our first date, and so we're just like sitting and getting to know each other. I think it's like I don't think it's like a dinner. It's like a meal, something light though. I think maybe it's like a coffee. So it's like I went for a coffee with her or something on this resort though, and we were just getting to know each other, kind of being flirtatious and all that stuff. And I don't know why, but it feels like we're on a first date type of thing. And so I remember talking to her, and like I remember liking her instantly. Like we're just hitting it off really well. And at one point, it's like she's explaining about, because before it was a guy, it was like a guy in the dream. Now it's like a woman, and it's like she's telling me about the whole thing because she didn't have an accent, and she spoke like fluent English or something like that. So I think I'm asking her questions about her past, and so we're sitting there, and she explains that I think she's from like Central America, so she's from like some tropical. I think she says she's not. It's not Jamaica. It's not like it's something like. I think she says I don't know why. I think it's like Barbados or Bahamas, something like that. It's like a country in Central America, I believe, and it's like really nice weather there. Obviously, it's like a tropical place, and I think she was even complaining about the weather. I thought, yeah. So she's complaining about the weather in Sweden, but and then I basically crack a joke. I'm like, you're from a tropical country, and it was so nice there, and then you come up to Sweden, which is like a very cold and gloomy and cloudy country, and you're complaining about like the weather. And she starts laughing, and I remember we're laughing really hard, and I'm teasing her about like the move she made, and like why she would move to Sweden of all places, and something like that. And anyways, it's like we're hitting it off, and like we're having like a nice time. It's like I said, it felt like a first date. It's like we're trying to just get to know each other. But she was an employee though; she's working at this big resort, um, and so I think it's like a short little section of the dreams. But basically, we have a date, and then we do that. And it's like, and I think at the end we kind of like agree to see each other again, like we're gonna have another date or something like that. I don't know. But that's all I remember from that section of that part of the dream. And then after that, I don't think I actually make it to the wedding itself, like the whole dreams and all that. I think actually another time I remember there's another part of the dream where like I think it's like right before the wedding. I think we're planning it out, or I'm actually helping set stuff up, and I don't know why. There's a bunch of trucks and trailers. I think we're moving stuff around or driving stuff. It's like they're setting something big up. But then actually, I just remember this now. The weird part is, I don't even remember her name. What's that girl? There's the UFC girl. I think her name, what is it, Nina Marie or whatever it is? The one who does all the promotions and hype stuff. She's like the influencer. And I forget her name now. Nina Marie or Marie, something like that. And she's there, and I'm with her, and we're planning something. I'm helping her plan out something to do with the wedding, but it's literally looks like a UFC event or like a UFC setup. And we're talking about how we need to make it a certain size, and she's complaining that the last time we set this thing up, it wasn't big enough or something. I think it was we messed something up, and it's like there's a bunch of trucks. It's like there's a bunch of workers there, and she's like, I think she's the main organizer or something, and I'm helping her, and we're setting up. I guess I don't know, maybe the tables and chairs for the wedding, but there's other stuff too. And she starts talking about just making it better. Like she wants this to be like one of the best events ever. And again, I don't know if I think it's related to the whole like my cousin's wedding or something, but for whatever reason, it's mixed with the UFC at this point. So again, it makes no sense at all. But so she's talking about Strickland though, the UFC fighter Strickland, and something about him. And then I think she mentioned something about Duplessis. And I don't know if they were going to be there, or they were like, I don't know if they were guests at the wedding, or she was talking about how she helped plan their weddings. The whole thing, I don't know. It was just so confusing at this point. But I just remember we're like, at one point, I'm even standing inside of a truck with her, and we're just looking at the space inside of a big trailer. It's like a 53 foot, like a regular tractor trailer or whatever. And I don't know, we're standing inside and there's 3 or 4 of them, and she's measuring stuff. She's, like, standing there measuring the length of something and saying, like, "We need to make sure we're not, like, doing it wrong or whatever," and and then after we're outside, we're walking on some site. I don't remember. I think this is all still part of the resort. And I think what's his name? Is it Strickland? Sean Strickland, I think, or whatever. I think at one point he's actually there. I don't see Duplessis, even though she was talking about it. I think Strickland at one point is there for whatever reason. And I don't think I see no. There's no Dana White or none of those people, like the regular big guys. It's just a couple fighters are there for whatever reason. I don't know. Anyways, that's all I remember though. It's like me, her, and a couple fighters, and we're just talking and planning something out. And then after that, I think there was more, but I can't remember. I'm already forgetting it. It's too hazy. I think that's it. I think that's all I remember from this weird ass dream.